So, one of the things I don't think I've ever really talked about before is I love the British film industry. It's a vibrant industry, but it has problems. It has massive problems. And the first is, from my experience, the British industry doesn't seem to think it can beat the US industry. That is flat out 100% wrong. It's nothing to do with the amount of money. It's all to do with the talent and the growth of that talent within the industry. There is a massive problem that whenever we do films or we discover some new talent, very, very quickly they get whisked off to Hollywood, and then we never see them again. And there's so much talent just gone across the pond, and our industry has done nothing to keep them here. There've been a couple of interesting directors that have appeared, and then very quickly they're almost never heard of again, because they went across the pond, and then they were, make no mistake, the Hollywood system. If you've got a successful film in the UK, you go over there and you're like, they are literally treated like, oh well, you had one successful film in a microcosm, but did it make it over here? If it didn't make it over here, sorry, we're not interested. And they spend years sort of knocking again on the doors, and then by the time they realise that that's not working, they come back over here, and then when they start knocking on doors over here again, they start going, who are you? Oh, that guy that did that one film and then disappeared for a while because he went over to America. And then on top of that, it has a really, really bad way of trying to get new people into the industry. It is now trying to get into the film and TV industry is hard enough, but if you add on top the extra doors and barriers that the UK film industry seems to have in place, it's laughable. So one of the things that I always complained about was there was a initiative they had based solely for Yorkshire, and it was an initiative to get new people into Pinewood Studios. You'd be a runner on a couple of films, and you'd get your start. Now this is great. The problem was they said in the application process you had to have 2 already existing IMDb credits. So their initial lie, so to say, was, well, you're meant to be new and starting fresh in the film industry. We're giving you your chance. And then they immediately tagged on a door, said, well, you've got to have 2 IMDb credits, meaning that you've already got to have worked in film, meaning you've already got your foot in the door, and you've already got your start in either film or TV, and you're slowly progressing. And then for anyone who is struggling, trying to get in their own foot in the door, you've immediately gone, well, I see that you're kicking your barefoot flesh against our iron door, but we're not opening it for you. And I've said continuously that was a massive misstep by them. And I've heard people defend it by saying, oh, well, we're just trying to get, the creme de la creme in. Some of that, creme de la creme talent might not have been so fortunate. Some of them might have come from, low in impoverished background areas. There's no mistaking the fact that a lot of the early starters in that industry have been able to get where they've had because they've had 2 or 3 years, because they've been supported by their parents and have been lucky enough to be able to catch the attention. Very, very often you do not see the lower end. You don't tend to see them because they don't have that same support either from their parents or just in their life that they can afford to muck about, or they just don't have the time, and that's a shame, because we lose potentially so much talent that way. Now, I don't know what you would do to try and change that, but there needs to be more initiatives to help people get on their way and going. Now, I myself am sort of not in the film or television side. I'm more corporate films side. So my chance of getting into film and TV these days is very rare. But I've had lots of wonderful opportunities myself, and I'm not saying I'd change that in an instant. But there needs to be a change, I think, in the way that we look at keeping young talent interested, getting them in, getting them through the doors, and giving them that opportunity. And then we need to look at funding actual real projects. We've got some amazing studios in the UK. All of them are being used by Hollywood, because when Hollywood comes over here, they get massive tax breaks. When a UK film goes to these studios, they don't get the same tax breaks, or they don't get as much. So that's a problem that needs to be solved. The other problem that needs to be solved is that we need to learn to keep our talent engaged, and we need to keep them here. So I'm interested to see what people may think of that. But it's an idea. I don't think it's going to restart the British film industry overnight. I think it's still a long plodding road that we need to trek. I think that we are going to stumble along the way. I think that we are constantly stumbling on this road. But what do you think? Although this might not be my particular audience, but what do you think to some of the stuff I've said? Do you think we should be giving more opportunities to these people? Let me know.